Yeah, I got some notes.
But the format I suggest is so do parish, and then we do project, and then we do situational awareness,
Yeah,
which is like anything else.
sounds good. And I think that if there's situation awareness that warrants becoming a stuck, then that should be included too. Now, did you get a list of rules for how to talk best or communicate best during these
No,
sessions?
I
No.
haven't got them written down, but I've got. I
Are
can
we,
speak to the recording.
are we gonna get a stuck created that has those that in there as
Yeah,
a task for you? Hey.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
ran out of time yesterday, and but I learned a lot about
Time, the enemy of all.
all. Yeah, so I didn't quite get there to write down the kind of meta rules of what I was doing, and interestingly enough, most of it was failure to start with.
That's how life goes, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah.
shall we? What do you want to do, buddy?
Start the recording, and we'll talk
It's
project.
it's been going. It's on now. We're
Oh,
off.
right. Okay, cool.
Here we go.
Right, again, because of Mac stroke meta, I can't project anything. If you can go into Nap's reasoning, Stux, I would like your view on the priority list. So let me take you through this first.
Sure.
So the priority list is dynamic, as in it's you notice they've given an ID to each stuck.
Yep.
Those IDs aren't necessarily the priority.
That's right.
Um,
That's how it has
it
to
just
be.
yeah. So those can move around.
I'd
Now,
say
just
that
so
one of
happens,
the rules for talking to the recording is to refer to that ID because that makes it very unambiguous, I think.
yes. Oh, actually, that's a good point. Okay, so let's talk about the rules about how to talk on these recordings. It helps a lot if we are specific about what we're talking about. So currently we are in Nap's reasoning stocks, and I'm talking about priority list. I know it feels quite clunky, but at least 2-3 hours of my day yesterday was to go through and clean up the transcript in order
Yeah.
to get Commander to actually get his teeth into it.
Okay. I also don't
Um,
think that you're using the corrections correctly because some of the items came in as being misspelled.
oh, okay. I thought I
So
caught all those.
you're not running it through that.
Can you show me what the corrections mean? I was just asking the AI for any inconsistencies in naming. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
sounds like you're talking about something else.
you didn't apply the corrections to the transcript. Um, Under reasoning data folders. Okay, reasoning data folders. Where is folders? Oh, there, under my cursor, hidden away. NAP, narrative application.
I oh, okay, that's wrong.
You're bad. Okay.
That's interesting.
And the spelling of the repo is American, by the way, not whatever this
Uh,
is.
yeah, I'm just going to go with Z, where even if it's wrong.
Just spell it in American. I mean,
Yeah, but we invented the bloody language. Okay, I'm going to
did
go
you though?
with
Did you invent the AI that wrote most of this? No. Have you
no,
been Great Britain for very long? Like when was like it's been a while, fellas. It's been a while.
hey,
You
hey,
just
thousand years ago still counts. Hey.
does it? Does it? I mean,
Okay, so
where's Egypt now? I mean, crumbs.
we got a big pile of stones. Okay, yep.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Point well made. Right, so
Yeah.
just to take you through,
Okay. Sorry. We were on
yeah,
the
I just want to explain what the output
priority
was,
list.
and then go through your comments, and then I can talk about the difficulties of producing those stocks, because this first run through of creating the stocks was gnarly.
No, yeah.
Um, So I think that's the three things to go. So I'll just take you through the first one. So the priority list is the priorities at this point.
Right.
And now it is dynamically generated based on the last transcript and the previous transcripts. Previously, we were talking about dynamically generated information not being something for the repo, but I think for this, it is.
No. The priority list is definitely for the repo because it's not part of the context that you're giving to the model. Like the concat is just an intermediary step between like it's that's discardable. But this is output that you want to save because you want to be able to roll back through Git history and pull out the priority list each day to get a view of how the priorities have been shifting.
Yes,
like
agree.
yeah.
And the second thing of the similar thing, I think the commander's report is similarly. We want
Yeah,
the history.
yeah. That's right. But the commander's report, as you had it, was a concat, but it actually needs to be just an actual report. Now, we also need to have a generative report, which is the one that we show to the trucking guys because they don't care about our internal build tooling, like you figuring out what stuff you need for project management, me figuring out what tools I need to make code faster. They don't want to know about that. They only care about the scope of the trucking system, and so
That's right, because most of these, well, a lot of these apply to the
yeah,
trucking CRM,
yeah.
but not all of them.
Not all of them, and there's going to be we want this process to allow us to chuck in all kinds of different stacks and all that. Like I'm very enthusiastic about this process because it feels like the software defined org too.
It does, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think that strangely, I think that we can get not just the trucking app done, but the Dreamcatcher done if we follow this role where you're the spotter, I'm the sniper. So my job is to generate code and to make the tools that generate code better. Your job is to manage the manage the landscape.
Go down wherever it is. I don't know much about sniping, but on like 20 degrees left.
Yeah, well, you're in charge of things like situational awareness, prioritizing, selecting targets, reconciling and debating. Why are you shooting that? The sniper metaphor is not that great for this, but why are you going after that stuck versus this one? You should be going after this one. Why did you take 30 minutes to take a piss? We're sitting here, we're supposed to be doing this thing. Those kinds of issues, and together we can both do the selection and maintenance of the aim. Like that's sort of our role to debate what we're trying to put at the top.
Yeah.
And then after that, it should be deductive all the way down.
Yes, and the aim selection and maintenance of the aim can be informed by commander, but we need to.
We got to set it.
It's like a civil servant, briefing the prime minister, but the prime minister still needs to decide.
That's right. And
okay.
Yeah, and so these derivative reports, like if we settle on a nice, clean, simple format of a report that we deliver to these guys every day. So what the mode I want to get into is that we'll have our meeting. We can pick the cadence of it, like we can say that we'll deliver on a report on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be a 7-day-a-week thing. I don't think anyone expects that. But the format of the report would be like a light summary of what happened, the tasks printed out in a Mermaid Gantt chart again, maybe some discussion on the hurdles and problems, and that's it. And it's a very simple thing, and it just goes into their email.
Talk about the frequency and the format, but essentially, if you if you are the buyer of a project that's running through the system, what you really want to know is, last time we talked, you said you're going to do this. Are you still on target?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not, then report by exception.
Right. Yeah.
And then tell us what
the situation is. And then when we have a chat with them, we can incorporate the recordings of their feedback into the discussions, into the planning, into the stucks, and then that sort of we
Right.
can address those direct questions that they asked in the next report that comes out. We can do like grandfather, father, son style reports where like after at the end of a month, it's like a monthly report that's like,
Yep.
here's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
summary of the whole damn thing. Here's the burn. This is what our estimated costs are. Here's what you got delivered.
Absolutely. And damn, man, there's nothing stopping us automating most of that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, well, that feels like no matter what happens in our lives, that system is going to be needed, and that discipline and that cadence is the way that we approach maximum output.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I agree with that.
Okay.
If we move on, as opposed to
Sure.
continue to agree with each other.
Okay.
So
I agree.
The stucks here were
Can I
all
debate this order? Or is that not the time? Now's not the time.
Yes, you can. But what I want to do is to give you a run through of.
Okay, so you do the run through. You do the run through, and then I'll yeah.
Then you have the conch. I
Okay.
think some of your comments were on order as well.
All right, cool.
So if you go into, for example, S1 Git-based artifact database in terms of the stuck. Now, these were generated. Now, because this was at the
one minor call out: can you make sure that the names are always in kebab case and always in lowercase, except for readmes, which are capital?
Okay, so if you go down,
Down.
we should have repo rules. Sorry, no, in the folders, I should have repo rules somewhere. This repo evals, yeah. Okay, this is again from the recording. I need to do corrections on that, and this is where I put that sort of.
I don't think you need to say for the recording. You're in the recording, and if you just say it, then it's there. Like
right. So I need to update corrections.md. Now, can you restate what the format you're asking for there?
All the file names need to be in kebab case. I don't know, why did you think I needed to restate that? Because the bot would have heard it right the first time, even though you didn't. Right?
Excellent point, well made. Okay.
So we need to be okay with missing a point from one another and knowing that it's in the recording and the bot will grab it.
Right, and putting in what the context is after the point has been made.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what it's good at, dude. You can be, I don't think the words that I'm using are correct. You can be a complete shambles.
Yeah.
And all over the place. Doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean you don't know what's going on. But that's a very difficult format to reconcile into a structured project plan. And yet with this machine, we're like, haha, go. And then life is good. Yeah.
All right. I think we're starting to build up the rules to do that now. My next question is if you can go into choose a stuck.
Choose a stuck. Okay.
Now, these are generated from the previous formats. Yesterday, you were saying doesn't matter as long as we've got some format.
Yep.
Any comments and any changes that I want or you want that? I know we were talking about splitting up, the derivative like links and so on. But for now,
For now, that's just because you're, having
that priority one should not be there, by the way.
Yeah, so so nothing about the priority should be there because that should be being managed in that priority list thing.
Yeah. Around that time. Yeah, didn't delete those.
I'm not clear on the difference between situation and background. Like these things could be collapsed into one, and that'd mean the same to me.
So this is just the start for 10 on the stock. I've based it around S bar. situation background,
Yeah,
subsequent
I never
recommendation.
really. I agreed with the format, but I didn't really. I'm not sure that the situation and background distinction applies terribly well to us here.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Um, but try it and see. I mean, see, when I read this, I'm like, well, I mean, background's sort of a bit of the history,
Yep.
right? I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, yeah,
Situation is okay. So, what was the situation in this stuck being created?
yeah.
The background is more of the context of
And like,
other
yeah,
stucks.
done and evals is probably the same, really, because done is
Is the yes, that's a good point.
yeah.
That's a very good point. So
Um,
done it.
assessment,
Evals is done.
yeah, capabilities, inputs, and trigger conditions. Uh, these are too many, so many headings, so many
Yeah, I
headings.
was aware when I was doing capabilities
You can definitely, like,
inputs.
it's definitely a legitimate move for you to say, look, Tom, I need you to go and populate S1 for me, because I have a lot of reasoning about this piece um, in the Naps folder, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
for
Actually,
example, what I can do, and this is I know this is jumping around a bit, but luckily that's not a problem. And just tell me if I'm being too jarring. I know you don't like the old Goins train from a nice high G target switch, but um, if I go, for example, concat. Oh no, here we go. If I grab this, I wanted to show you how I use concat because I think you can stop using those bash things if you use it in this way.
okay.
Um, so I go. I just want to get that file name.
And one of the way of doing that, one of the long-term stucks, is it would be so much more swift to inform the commander about one of these sessions if we could ingest video. But
Why?
that's because what's happening on the screen is information now, and
Well,
so
nah, because I'm trying to keep in mind that I want to talk about it, and this particular thing doesn't really help the commander. Really, I'm just trying to give you some tool instructions.
okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Um. So ChatGPT launched video now, so you can video call it, and then it will sort of interpret what you're saying. So there's that.
There is that.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, yeah. Okay, we're off
And
topic.
and yeah,
Carry on with the okay.
can I
All right.
tell you an idea I had about?
Yes. I just realized I got all Anton on you there. All right. Okay.
It's hard to not be a bitch when you're sitting in the PM seat. It really is hard. Um, but an idea I had, and it would be great if you could do this is an extra for Christmas request. If you could do a sweep on the transcriptions to pull out ideas, because ideas can act as solutions without a stuck yet, and they're often quite good to track as well.
That would be. I could use. We've got all the transcripts back through November. I can go back previously, but I've not done it. And using RAG, we could get not very smart, but identification of topics for sure, I think. So, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so an idea I had was to get that real-time voice thing, because right now what we're taking advantage of is the fact that having a real-time voice conversation is much more comfortable and softer on our intellects to be able to, chat and go back and forth. But that real-time voice kind of does that. And so it might be possible to wire up the real-time voice so that it could do the project manager job as well. Like, obviously you'd have to tweak it and tune it a lot, But to scale out the system, you could make it so that contributors can chat to the real-time voice bot, and it's steering them through the project manager interrogation process that you're trying to do on me right now, or we're trying to do on each other, really. And it would mean that it doesn't need it's just a stopgap, right? Because it might be nicer and easier to do your updates like that.
That'd be awesome. That's a good idea. I've noticed that the latest interruptible voice chat from ChatGPT talks a lot faster, because that used to be doing my head in, because it just talked really slowly in a Californian accent.
Yeah.
But
So let me show you what I was gonna do. Did you see what I did with Concat there, or you not? You missed it.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking about your idea.
Yeah. So hey, that's not yet. Yeah. So what I did was first of all, I don't use the -- output anymore, and take advantage of the fact that it auto outputs as concat.txt.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas right in your bin file here, you've got
no, it's under naps now. Because one day it will be one.
It may already be one, buddy.
Brief the commander. That's the one. So that's the latest bash script. Oh, that's not my latest bash script.
What's the one in? It's the latest committed one, buddy. So don't talk to me about
right.
this.
Okay, I need to talk to you about. It's on reasoning.
Yeah, I pulled reasoning in here. What I do is I look at your commits and then I merge your branch into next, so that I have your latest commits and can see them. That's what I do.
My bad.
You're bad. Definitely you're bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So tree is definitely one that I'll admit that we might need to add that into Concat as a feature to add the tree. But it actually, because of the way that it gives you a file name in all the begin file blah blah blah, O1 does a great job at knowing what the hierarchy of the files is anyway. So it doesn't seem to really help it any to give it the file system tree when it's implied by the file names in all the files that you added.
Yeah, so the thing that I didn't commit, and therefore you can't see, this is probably a topic for tomorrow.
Right.
But what I've done is for each file and folder, I get the AI to do a one-line summary, so that it can see the whole thing
summarized.
In
yeah.
Contact.
Yeah. So I've been doing that too for code module generation, but critically I've been telling it to ignore minor files. So not every file, only the files that are consumed or exported by other files. So I'm trying to, it's for high level view only. The little files are not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So similar idea, but a bit more refined on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, less is more is generally the rule. By the way, O1's context window is 100 kilotokens out, which is massive. That's like about 5-6 times what 4O's is, and its input context window is 200 kilotokens, which is big.
Yeah. And to date, any of these briefings haven't been more than
the tiny. Yeah, that counter's quite cool, right? The counter for the tokens. Yeah. So what I'm trying to show you here is that this concat, instead of being 3 commands, could have been just one concat and one tree. And the way you would do that is that you would tell tree to you put 2 arrows in. So let's
one arrow, because you'd want to overwrite.
Just settle down, sunshine.
Okay, all right, calm down.
So you'd go, first of all, you'd go concat. You don't need the output because you've got a default file, and then you'd say this is one glob pattern.
Oh, I see where you're going.
And you got it. Oh, you do now.
Well,
So
no,
you yeah,
I would add to that in that just doing concat. Now, this is my work to do, but sometimes the references are wrong.
what do you mean the references are wrong?
So if you look at, actually you can't because it's no longer in the repo. But concatenating each of the readmes, um, the bash script, which I haven't committed, writes in saying, okay, so now you're talking about the README for the commander domain. Now you're talking about innovation
Yeah, but that's
domain,
in the,
and
it
so on.
comes out in the file path, right? Because this command here, this
Mm-hmm.
one command will do all of those individual commands and output it into a single context file. And
Mm-hmm.
then all you do is you do the tree and you append it at the end of concat.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm going to give that a go.
Um,
This is actually, interesting enough, the thing that was hardest to get Commander to actually do what my brain wanted it to do yesterday, was to get the briefing in a nice format. So I'm more than willing to give that an experiment.
right. So if I actually do this, and you would have run this at the root, right?
Yeah.
You would have run it at the base of the folder, the base of the reasoning folder.
The only other thing I did was I pointed the output to downloads to keep it off the repo.
Yeah, but if you just use concat gets ignored in the git commits anyway. So
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
all right.
and additionally, you should also use the text format. Otherwise, the auto formatters for Markdown will kick in when you view it, and it will mangle the entire. It'll mangle the file.
How is that done? Oh, I don't understand what you just said.
Well, you were trying to output as like something.md, and because it ends in MD, Visual Studio Code tries to auto format it sometimes, which can mess with it. But if you leave it as text.txt, it won't touch it.
So the output being concat.txt.
Yeah. And it,
All right.
but moreover, if you don't specify an output file, which is how I intended concat to be used, you'll get concat.txt, which is automatically ignored by the gitignore file. So down here where we have gitignore, it says don't include concats, and that way you can have these all littered about your. See, they show up grayed out because they're not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I just made this concat.txt here, which should have had everything that you wanted, and because it includes the file path.
Yep.
That's what lets O1 does a good job of reconstructing the hierarchy from that.
Okay. So,
Right.
but do we still need to hold the tree at all then?
Well, no, not really, because the tree is there. You like try it out for yourself. Use this and then ask questions about the tree. But what you're doing is different, where you're maintaining a tree that has the so what's. It has all the little notes about why this thing's there, what it does, and all that. That's a different file. That's a valuable file, and I use one of those files for the modules I make.
Okay.
But that's not coming out from tree. Tree, the information contained in tree is duplicated by the file paths in the concat.
So to push back, if it knows, so begin file. If you go back to that last file.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wherever you were back
Yep.
there you are. Begin file, right? So it knows engine atomic.ts.
Yeah.
And then it's got the contents of it.
Yeah.
Then is it worth, do you think, having a scrunched so what?
I think it's absolutely worth a scrunch so what, because the so what tells you The reason I've been using it is
Mhm.
because I've started to try and do a like a three-phased approach to the code generation, where
Mhm.
first I say, here's the file system structure with all the scrunched so what. How would you change this to solve this new problem
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I've
yeah.
got?
Yeah.
And
In the
then
thing
once
that
it's
I haven't actually committed. That's
yeah,
yeah.
and then
That's
once
the
it's
idea.
changed that, then I'm like, okay, that's good. And then I debate it on the order of the internals of the file because I've been using the file that I generate also includes like the headings of the markdown files. So it goes
Hmm.
deeper than just the file name, it goes into the contents of the file names. For the code, I'm making it list in the so what. It lists out what the exported function names were and the parameter types. And so I've got this, it's not
Hmm.
just the files, it's one level deeper as well. And then
Hmm.
I debate with the bot as to, okay, what overall needs to change and then the order. Because if I'm going to modify the README, and I control the sections first, and then finally I create or fill in or change the actual sections, then I get a better
That
control of the
that's
result.
that's interesting. I think I'm coming at it from the same angle from a different direction, if that makes sense. It doesn't.
Yeah.
A different. I'm coming at it from a different vector for the
The
same
rule
target.
seems to be that you just go like global
Yeah,
something and then
yeah, yeah.
actual generation.
But one of the things that I'm finding really useful is if it has this rich context about the one-liners, then you can ask it things like, I'm trying to do this. Do you want any more information? And it knows, saying, yes, I would like to know more about this file, this file, this file. And then you can tell it about exactly what it's asked to look into. So, for example, on the Commander, the transcripts have got the summaries. It knows about the summaries. Fine. You're talking about a topic, and it knows. Okay, so you talked about that 2 weeks ago. You talked about a month ago, and 2 days ago, and yesterday. Um, can I see more detail about the files that I know because I know the folder structure? But it doesn't have the content, the raw contents, so it can ask to drill down, and that's been quite successful so far. So it's like, what?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. So you're like, here's everything. Where do you want to walk to? And you
Yeah. Do you
allow it
want
to
any more
walk. Yeah,
information?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
happy to
yeah.
give you more information.
So here's something I wanted to show you that I think is a legitimate thing for you to ask me to do. It's a legitimate task to assign me.
Mm-hmm.
Using the stuck defined in S1, take the code in the get kv module and update the stuck based on what this code does, since this code solves this stuck. But I need a good problem statement in reverse, if you catch my drift, homie.
Okay. Right. Okay. So it's like this. I think I've solved this stuck. The stuck was, yeah, a bit vague.
Yeah, the stuck was
Update
a
the
bit
stuck
vague. Give me
on.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I'm stating I've
Yeah,
solved it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you saying to me, "Hey, dude, go off and this is a starter for 10 stuck description." You go
Yeah.
off and you make a good one. So
Yeah,
what?
because that allows your monkey brain to actually say, I know we're going for this, and
Yeah,
I think I've solved it.
yeah. And so you're
Now,
applying that leveling thing to me, right? Because you've got this
yeah,
overview of all the stucks, and then you're like, this particular stuck, and you might pawn off the whole one, or you might say, this section heading or this group of sections in the stuck is illogical, inconsistent, has some issues. Please, can you fix it? And so you're telling me what scope you want a modification to the file system made. And I'm like, sure,
no, I
buddy.
love that. I love that. I love that because you get the drift of what the
Yeah,
stuck is,
yeah.
so we can be quite
And even
nitty with
like
the stuck.
we're doing it now, this process. We're debating the folder structure of the project management NAP. And
Yeah,
after we've got the folder structure, and then we're going to debate the structure of the individual files, and we're going to jump between those different levels a bit, and then eventually we'll settle down on a lot of actual execution.
yeah, yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot.
So yeah,
And also, with that kind of, you basically it's earthing through your brain. Okay, I know what the stuck says, and through my experience, here's what it does. Update the stuck, but then also you can traverse what other stucks may be dependent on that, or maybe deduped, and so on. So there's a further step after that earthing step. Okay, I'll think about that, but I think that's brilliant. Yeah, it's good.
okay. And so yeah, I mean, this this will take a couple more tweaks, but in essence, it's a I feel like that's a better description than what's in there right now, because it really gets into the heart of why it's needed.
Because it has something to, yeah,
Because it's
it's
got a
like,
lot to bite on, right? Like it can bite on the actual code. I leave notes in my readmes as to what this thing does. There's comments in the code that say why certain areas are tricky and need to be paid attention to. It can look at all that and then go smush, and now you've got a really good quality stuck. So one of the things that we need to approach as a probably a crucial task, I would say, is getting down what a good solid definition of a stuck looks like. And I don't think there's any point in trying to just declare what the format is. It's a format that needs to be iterated upon, where we're like
yeah,
started for
yeah,
10,
sure,
started for 10, and then we just keep
yeah,
figuring out the minimum that we need, and then we're like, that's the stuck format, just like we did with the definitions in the domains, and then we just go, hey, I got a new stuck, and immediately it's got all these other stucks that we said were good, and it's like, oh yeah, they're blah blah blah. There you go, done.
no, I agree. Okay, I love that. It's like write a stuck for I want a play called Hamlet about some Danish dude. It's like, well, here's Hamlet. Then okay, update the stuck.
Yeah,
It's going to be much richer.
much better, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
So that's cool. Uh, do you want? What do you want me to do with this? Do you want? I'll just leave it. I'll
Leave
send it
that.
over to you. Because you
Um,
can't see this because I'm on my branch. I'll paste it
to
over to you in WhatsApp.
Pip. Yeah, yeah, cool.
If you just sort of there you go.
And there's some. I'll consider this transcript. The bash script actually used inference to add some additional linking information beyond the concat, but probably 2 days from now, I'll show you that bash script, and you can say whether you could move any of that
Yeah, yeah,
into the concat tool.
yeah. Okay, what now?
Yep. Right. So we've looked at the stucks. Now the next thing is.
Well, did we though? Like, isn't the stucks the main thing to go through, and we didn't really. We just sort of glossed over it.
I was going to go through
Oh, the overview
yesterday in order to the overview.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay. So
we've done the overview, and so the next piece, your choice really. You've got
a
your
choice.
messages.
Christ, I don't get those very often.
Yeah, you got the messages that have been sent over.
Yeah.
But what would be good is comments about each of these. So
What's these?
These stucks. The list
Comments
of
about the sticks. Let's do that. That to me is the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Wow, it feels good, doesn't it? We've actually got something to talk about, as opposed to
Execution versus ideation.
Exactly.
When the dreamer goes to war. So, this priority list, I disagree with it because I think that
Well,
the format, I think that number 8 is actually the most important. And I think that
so S8, yeah.
also
Sorry.
number 8, buddy. I am trying to play nice with the bot, and I think that saying number 8 is
Tell you
sufficient.
what, how about I shut up and let you talk?
I am aware that this is a transcript about to be parsed by a machine. Okay, I'm trying to work with it. I'm trying to work with it.
Okay, you have the punch.
I think that number 8 comes first. Then I think that number 9 comes second. Sorry. Number 7 comes second. And then number 1, which is the Git-based artifact. And then number 9 kind of gets bumped way down the bottom because we're not using the artifact-based execution. So the order would go, number 1 would be the standard NAP format definition. I don't know why it needs to be called standard NAP. It is just the NAP format definition. Then I would say the file system based NAP execution. So that's like, how do I execute a NAP, but I'm using the file system instead of artifact. And then after that, the Git-based artifact database, which means that I'm now using Git as the file system, so now it runs in the cloud.
Okay.
And then I think the XML, it's not data sync, it's XML data pool, where we pull the data in from MoneyWorks and store it into Artifact and keep it in sync. Yeah?
Okay. I'm still trying to be quiet.
Okay, I'm done talking. All the rest of it, the order doesn't really matter to me, I don't think, because I'm like, I really want to do number 19, the automated O1 code generation, but I'm like, that's actually a tool for me to do what I think is make my life easier. I think that tool and all the tools actually depend on those top 3 priorities anyway, because they're like, how else are they going to work other than as naps? Like, what's the point in just making them as a hack together?
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I'm working on with Commander is to keep us honest about our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so the lowest level of knowledge that we can give it is a simple statement saying this should be priority X, this should be priority X plus 1 or whatever.
Right.
So
this would be part of the rules of how we talk about stuff. What you're saying here?
Yeah, but what I'm saying here is, in terms of this priority list, what I'd like to do is to link it to some kind of reasoning chain inside of what the commander says. Today, this is the priority list, and here's why this is the priority list. And then link that to the transcripts and the stocks in order for it to say, you say that's priority 1? Nah, you've missed this big target in your sniper.
Do you know how to do that? Do you think you know how to do that? Because I don't.
I think it's possible.
Okay. Now,
would...
is it a useful thing? Like, is it worth defining it as a stuck? This thing?
If we go back to our overall aim, which is to get the CRM up, it's not necessary for the CRM because we can just simply assert it.
Right. So what high level stuck? What's the highest stuck that would serve? That's the commander stuck, right?
That is the commander stuck that is...
Okay. So I disagree also with this trucking, deliver the trucking app stuck.
Okay,
because
can I just sorry,
sure,
can I just
sure, go, 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 go.
yeah. So um my top level stock is to produce the commander that listens to these transcripts, knows all about this folder structure and stocks and so on, and then can generate, okay, so what do I do today um, in order that we can scale it? Now, we agreed yesterday we don't need to scale yet, so we can do that manually. However,
Right, but
in
where
order
is that as
to,
a stuck? Where is what you just said as a stuck?
I'm saying it now in order to get it in transcript and
Okay,
get it
great,
into stuck.
great. Lay it down,
Um,
buddy. Lay it down.
so my that top level stuff, what I want is to develop the commander to the extent that it can carry out tasks such as pointing out glaring things that we should be looking at, but we're not. Things that we have contradicted ourselves on, or straight problems saying if you do that without doing this, it's not going to work. Um, that is my
All
kind
right.
of top
Yeah,
level
yeah.
aim
But
for the
so
commander.
what I want to do with that stuck is I want to break that down into drops or iterations, milestones, because as one thing, it's pointless to have a big thing and then you're just working, working, working until ta-da, it's all done. So
Yep.
you should be able to break that down into partial what's the next deliverable of the commander. Just like that's why I disagree with S24 deliver the trucking app, is because it's not covering um, the breakdown of staged delivering, where we're saying that we're going to first deliver just the XML files read and kept in sync
Yes.
from the data. Right?
Yes.
It's not
Yes.
saying what the
Which
deliverables are.
Yep, I agree. Let's not waste more time agreeing on this one because we're talking about this
All right, so
before.
you'll need
So
to work with that stuck for the commander to break it down into these little bits. I think I actually need to break down because my thing that I think is my top level stuck, independent of the trucking app, is it's like the this one automated O1 code generation, stuck
which is
19.
very low priority, but you just mentioned it. Yeah.
Well, because it's the tooling that I want is to make my job easier because my job is generating code. I've been given the freedom to choose how to do that, and the reason we've suddenly switched roles like we just did is because my power to generate code has just gone up like 20-fold, maybe even 40-fold over
Yep.
what it ever was. And that's why now I can consume your project management as though I was a team. Like I can use that level of project management attention because that's now how much I can generate,
Okay. So
right?
we touched on breaking down yesterday, but we never came to a conclusion on it. I think the conclusion was a breakdown was another stock, but we
Yeah.
split out what stocks needed to be. Yeah, for example, if we had
No, 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 no,
uh,
no, 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 don't do that to
no,
me. Don't just finish the summary.
okay,
Not an example.
all
The
right.
example
The
is for lazy
summary
people.
is yes.
Lazy.
Yesterday we were talking about breaking down stocks. My
Yeah.
question is, what is the format in terms of the file and folder structure
Oh, I
for
think
that?
it's just keep it flat, and then the have dependencies within the stuck within each stuck file, and then you can make a dependency that shows um, just points to other stucks. Though
Not
what?
not splitting out dependencies like we split out priorities because the
Nah, yeah,
dependencies
don't
could be
yeah.
across different projects.
What? Sorry. Because
Um,
if we keep all the stucks here in this one big folder, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
then we never really read it ourselves. We only use the bot to parse it and generate these summary. Like priority list is a good one because it's only got 23 items. I don't know if you chose that on purpose or whatever, but it's a set size, and it's linking out to everything in the flat repo. So as a human, I come in, I read the linked list, and then if I'm interested in something, I follow the link. I don't browse the pool of stucks in one shot.
Right. So in a similar frame, my question, which I don't have an answer to, is would it be helpful to have, like the priority list, a CRM dependency list? So when you're thinking about doing the CRM, you can look at just those stocks that have anything to do with the CRM.
Oh, my friend, what you actually mean is, can you have a Gantt chart of the stocks related to the CRM, right?
Yes, and
Okay,
filter it
so
for just the CRM, and then
right,
maybe
yeah. So what?
Dreamcatcher
So
or
what I
something
what
else.
I think is going on, the way that I see the stuck format, is that there's a section in there that says dependencies. Now, in the actual Stux format creation, which is one of these naps that I can't
Yeah,
remember,
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But
There is one.
um, the dependencies would be a separate data structure. However, when a human reads the Stuck, they want to see the dependencies, and so it makes sense to, for now, in the Markdown format, just have the dependencies as a section within the Markdown document that just links out to the other Stucks that it depends upon, and then you can use that to use O1 to generate summary lists, like a Gantt chart of dependencies. Like,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
and
I
an
agree.
important point is being able to also rely on O1 to generate reverse dependencies. So there's no need to store the reverse dependency. O1 can calculate it by reading the whole lot.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
because you don't know what the reverse dependency is.
If you're just looking at
Um,
a file, you can't, without reading all the other files, you can't tell what depends on this thing. But given that we'll just be doing a concat of all the stucks each time and lumping it into O1, it'll be able to work out what the reverse dependencies are.
okay, let's try that. Certainly, in terms of uh, drops, that that would
Right.
be the first drop. We can
Right.
get more
Yeah. Right.
sophisticated
Right.
about
Right.
it, but
Right. So
that'd be the
that's
first drop.
definitely, yeah. So that's definitely a stuck and a drop, because that's how we must present the summary reports to the trucking guys, because they'll understand a Gantt chart with a delivery date. They won't understand a bunch of text files with markdown links,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, good. And
That sounds cool.
once the second drop, um, which is more hypothetical at the moment, would
Yeah.
be look at all the stocks that could use this as a dependency. So this is deduplication.
Look at all the stucks that could use this as a dependency. What's this?
So can I use an example?
I don't
Um,
want. Yeah, I want a specific. Like that's a
okay.
that's what an example is.
Um,
What I'm getting at is when you start explaining things and then you launch off into an example, and I'm like, you could have just spent a couple seconds more telling me or finishing off what the summary was so that I know what I'm looking for. Because that example could have meant a wide range of things, and so you take up more of my RAM because I'm now tracking what it could be.
oh, I'm with you, dude. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So um, if and this is drop two, and
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this yet,
Yeah.
but if we have stocks, and one stock has a bunch of dependencies, and one of those dependencies is another stock. That stock could be very similar to another one, and
Yeah.
actually you could dedupe it
Yep.
um, as a phase two. It's like, well, you don't need to rewrite this twice because this needs it and this needs it.
Right. I would have thought that would be part of drop one, but sure, you can split it out like that.
Well, maybe drop one, yeah.
Yeah. And then
But
I think the other drops that you're talking about will really be so the first drops for Commander are about the feature set, or basically the technique, the rules, the sort of hand copied prompts, the folder structure, all that, right? And then once we've got that, then we're like the next drop is automation, right?
yes,
Just like for me, writing code was the first drop. Really, was the Concat tool, plus the techniques on how to do patches on code versus like those techniques were drop one because it works. It's just manual, and I have to be involved.
yes,
Drop
and
two is like when it's automated.
I agree. And that speaks to my day yesterday, where I spent about 2/3 of the day trying to rewrite Commander prompt in order to get what I want, and it was just not getting it. And so I
Mm,
went to raw O1 and I did it, just prompting it,
mm,
which is the manual step.
mm.
Now, do that enough, I should be able to go back and then write the sys prompt
Yeah,
for Commander
yeah,
that does what I'm doing in my head, even though it
yeah.
would be
And I'd
difficult to
also
articulate
just
it right now.
I'd caution you there that once we have access to the system prompt of O1, you may find that your results would have worked if you were able to give a system prompt.
Well, my expectation is that we'll get access to that system prompt,
We
but
technically have it now, but it's just not on the priority list for me to enable that
yeah,
for us, right? So
yeah.
again, you
Well,
could turn around and tell me, look, I need a playground thing at the very least. But here's a place where like reasoning needs to be applied, because you could argue that OpenAI will very soon put the O1 system prompt access into the playground. And so any work that we did to put it in our stuff, whilst not wasted because we needed it anyway, wasn't good timing in terms of getting to what we've declared are the aims, because
I
it took
agree.
time off this other thing, right? Whereas
I,
we could have just waited, and then you'd get what you wanted and would get an extra thing that I worked on instead.
I agree. This is not something for you. So to be more precise, what I'm saying is this is take a sniper, observer, spotter analogy.
Yep.
Um, uh, I'm spotting around here now. That spotting I'm doing manually. It can be automated, or I'm expecting it to be able to be automated. But when the automation tool comes through, I need to tell it about spotting. Um, so it's still useful, but it is manual at the moment.
Okay.
So I'd like to move on for that one, unless you've got
Sure.
anything else.
Moving on. Moving on. A spotter
Right.
helps the
Okay.
sniper find, identify, and range targets. Maintains situational awareness. Tracks bullet impact. We could just leave out bullet and say tracks impact. Relays corrections and provides security.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's identify what we do, assess
Right.
how it's worked, and maintain. Are we missing something really
Yeah.
big?
I think that the work you have in front of you, which is just being the commander and whilst developing the commander, is like quite a lot of work that's very meaningful and useful for us. But it's also like oh, what's the bloody word for it? Like there's also a lot of other tasks involved in making the commander that are like, I really do think you've got your work cut out for the
I,
foreseeable future, I
I,
think.
I agree, and the discipline I think is yesterday was one of the my brain was actually sore yesterday.
Yeah, I might argue that those long days you've been doing chatting to O1 Pro, maybe they weren't actually that hard. They were more flights of fancy, because when you actually do some hard grinding work, your head's like, I can't go on. I need to stop.
Yeah, but there's a lot of spinning plates, and the question is which plates do you care about and which don't.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is the discipline is in handing you a well-defined target.
Yeah. That's the thing, because otherwise
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's not
Yeah.
possible for me to look at the level of detail I have to for the code generation, but also keep trying to look around and see the whole thing.
And also as part of that to give you enough targets, because if you're sitting 2 or 3 hours between targets and you're
Yeah,
going,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
I need a piss now.
I should be loaded properly, and I should know what, if I get stuck somewhere, I'm like, I know what number 2 is
Right.
as well, right?
Right.
And in fact,
Right.
the commander should be there in a way that I can chat to it and be like, hey, I had this problem, what next? And it would be like, well, based on all this stuff, you should do this thing.
Yeah, take that guy out.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So moving on, because we've now got 32 minutes left.
Yep, sounds good to me, buddy. Me too.
Like to go through your WhatsApps, which I've not read, which seem to be a bunch of notes that you wanted to bring up.
Yep, okay, I'll bring them up. S28 is done. So, yeah, S28 was unifying the code and knowledge repositories. I've done the merge, but I think you need to call that done, but also make us another stuck that is the ability to break apart the reasoning nap into these individual naps, and you've started to do it here. But that work to split it out, because domains are still sitting here, and I think that each domain is its own nap, I think. Because it contains...
Sort of is.
It contains a bunch of knowledge, and you're going to intend to chat with it, and you're also definitely going to want other agents to talk to it via plain text. Like, you're typing away, writing code, and then you're like, hey, I need to ask the commander what I should do about this thing and that thing, right? Because this commander that you're building, it's not just for people.
Right, well, absolutely.
Right? It's for once we get a little bit more autonomous, because I can see O1 being able to grind on its own for a day, even. And it's going to have questions that need a human answer, but some of those questions can be answered by the commander, where it's like, I have some options, these are my options, which one should I choose? And it should ask the commander what's most important to the project.
Interesting. I experienced that yesterday when one prompt, which I thought was quite simple, took 9 minutes to come back, and it came back with a question saying, I don't understand this. It's like,
holy smoke, 9 minutes of reasoning.
Yeah.
To come back with a what?
Yeah. It's like,
Wow, that's meaty. Okay.
It was meaty, and
the longest thinking I've ever got is, I think, 2 minutes 48.
No, I'm regularly getting 6-7 minutes.
Really?
But the 9 minutes was a kind of open eye thing, which just means I'm running multiple tabs and then kind of manually doing the nap reasoning thing. Anyway, so your point being, if I got this right, is domains as a format, for example, Commander, includes the nap and the definitions.
Yeah, that's right, because you've got naps here, and so you'd sort of want to say that actually what you mean is this thing goes in there.
I think that makes a whole bunch of sense.
And so I'll show you an example of what I've been doing with a brand new nap when I'm just starting, is that I created a file called seed. So I was starting to make the stuck snap, and I made the seed of the stuck snap, which is just a list of points that say what I know about it so far.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not ready to commit to the full definition. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just dropping down bits and pieces, snippets as they occur. That's all, right? And so that's
Yeah.
probably what your
That's like similar to what we're talking about as a direct stuck. It's like, oh, you're stuck. What do you mean? And you
mm,
just put stuff in,
yeah.
and maybe there's context, maybe there's not.
And then this thing like diarized transcripts, that might be better as an actual stuck because you want this nap and you're like, here's the thing, you know, or you could just make it in talk to me if do you want me to make these into naps in the list of naps here?
Um.
Might as
What do you
well,
mean by
right?
that?
Well,
What do you mean
so
by that?
in this structure, each one of these folders is a nap. And so I could take these things and I could start skeletoning them out to be the actual naps that you want so that they're at least stubbed.
Um. Uh.
They look good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we're going to get quite a large number of folders there.
That's the point though. So what I've done with that, for instance, is I had a collection of naps that look like tools. Sorry, not tools. They looked like utils. And so I just made a folder and then I put these naps, like the concat nap,
Yeah.
inside of the utils folder, and now it's nice and neat and tucked away. No problem.
Okay. So, if we were to get some high-level types of naps,
Yeah.
and then inside of that nap, sorry, inside of each type
Yeah.
would be a folder, and that inside of that folder would contain the
Similar things
definitions
like groupings of
and the nap.
yeah.
Yeah, and the instructions itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the definitions might be 0 to n because it might not need any definitions,
Right. That's right.
but it might
That's
need
right.
a lot.
Yeah. And so
I'm
that
happy to do that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so well, why don't you line up the things that you think are naps here, and then you and I will periodically flush that folder where we debate with each other what's same and what's different, and then I'll create them as naps because these need code, right?
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
all of them do.
Yeah,
Well,
so
they all do,
yeah,
but
they no, I
they need an
mean
LLM at least.
no, yeah. So what you're talking about there is where the only difference is a prompt. I'd argue that that doesn't warrant a nap in itself, and what it should be is a nap that has different tool calls that select a different prompt and then do the exact same thing with the only difference being the prompt, right?
That
Like,
is just. I think that's an extra step that's not needed. Under the NAP format, say the very
well,
simplest
yeah,
one.
but it seems a waste of a nap folder to make one where the only thing that's different is the prompt because you know what are you going to do with
Um,
that? Like, you might as well make it sort of one group of prompts that are similar or related, and then all when I'm a consumer of it, I only got to pull in that one. Plus, that nap can have a sort of a directory service function where, like, if I call that nap using the plain text interface, I'm just like, hey, what can you do? And it's like, well, I can diarize transcripts. I can blah 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 blah. Right, and
okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
because
I
we
get you.
gotta
I get you.
we gotta
Um,
be able to. There is a loss in giving the LLM all the tool calls, and so what we want is to give it like a tool call folder that it can navigate in and be like, oh hey, I need that tool call. It calls a special system function that will rejig its tool calls, and now it's got a tool call that it walked to instead
have
of that
you?
it was given.
I agree. Have you noticed that the conversation on stocks seemed remarkably similar to the conversation on naps when we were talking about how do we um, order? Well, we've got a whole bunch of flat stocks, but we've got the priority list, and then we've got
Yeah,
dependencies.
discoveries.
It's
Yeah,
similar.
but it's because that's just discovery of any. That's just databases. That's just
Yeah. No,
information. That's all that
the
is.
the point being is, well, okay. Um, uh, what would
32
you
minutes.
suggest in terms of the change of the folder structure, given that we've got domains and naps, and we've just talked about domains?
I think
Essentially,
that what you should do
Commander
is
is a nap.
you should have a stuck that you should finalize the naps that you want, and then you and I will come in here and have a separate conversation where the stuck that we're trying to solve is, let's just call it how to splat the naps, where we're gonna take all the things that inside this one folder you've decided warrant being individual naps. We'll debate them down or separate them out or refine them together, and then I'll take them and splat them across the wider nap file system here, and then
Okay.
that's done.
What I suggest then is what I do is for each of these domains, these are sets of definitions. Definitions. Who cares about definitions unless it refers to a nap? And so all those should be inside of folders inside of the nap. So we should have a commander, we should have a decentralized AI nap.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
we can then refer stucks to how we want to improve the commander nap, how
Yep.
we want to improve the decentralized
Yep.
AI nap.
Yep. 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 Oh, great. Okay, so the naps can be categorized or linked to specific naps if we follow this format too, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think that would work. Well,
Okay.
I think it's worth a try.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That is cool.
And also, a lot of the Inventor Notebook stuff, I think, I've not done this yet, but there's a lot of stuff in there. And on your Christmas ask of going back of ideas that we had and we've forgotten.
Oh, like that could be a that could be a nap. The inventor nap.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And it's
and
almost
it,
like it's almost like you need a stub nap.
yeah, I'll deal with that. Don't worry about that. I'll deal with that.
Okay.
You can hear yourself there, buddy. I think
Yeah. Probably that's
napping away.
Yeah.
Okay, the current stux format is too verbose. We've covered that.
What else was there? Because
I turned off the branch delete, so there's no more.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for that. That's
but just don't do PRs, because PRs should be something that we do together, not something that just one of us does.
What I do is I commit to reasoning.
Yeah.
You can look at reasoning.
Yeah.
And
when you think that it's ready, you can start a PR, but we should together merge the PR, and that's
well. To be honest, what I'd prefer to do, see if this works for you, is I only work in reasoning as if it was main.
Yep, perfectly fine.
And I just commit to main.
Sure.
I commit to reasoning.
Yeah. So what I do is every morning I get up and I look for your commits. This is what I do anyway. And then now all I'll do is I'll just merge that into next. So I've got, like, you don't really care about what I'm doing, I don't think. But I care about what you're doing, and so I merge it into next.
Yeah, cool. And then we can maybe have a high-level discussion. Well, actually, even that high-level discussion, if you're merging it into next, that means you're content with it. The fact that I've committed it means I'm content with it. And so, it's just...
it doesn't... My merging it doesn't signal that I'm content. Mm-hmm. I merge it so I can read it. It's easier for me to read it, because all I'm doing is I'm looking at the Git tool here, and so I see what you do here. It's easier for me to look at the diffs in this way, so that's why I merge it in. And I figure and if I'm gonna fix anything, I need it merged in anyway. Like, I don't want to fix it on your branch.
Do we need to, project management wise, have a periodic merge conversation?
Yeah, periodically. But that's just, I'll know when that's due, and then I'll hit you up about it.
Do you want me to say oi, matey, we should be merging, or do I wait for
Well,
you to say, oi, matey,
I don't think at the
we should be
moment
merging?
you. I'm not sure at the moment you would know when it's time. Like
Yep.
the time for see, because I'm not merging to main either, right? I'm sitting on next, and I'm pulling in your stuff every time you do
Right.
anything. But when we merge to main is when we actually publish naps to JSR. And we're currently a bit wounded at the moment because of all the refactoring that I was doing with Artifact. And
Mm-hmm.
so the publish is broken, but um, sometime soon, this probably warrants being stuck in itself, is to repair the state of the repository so that it publishes the naps to JSR. And that means that they're genuine packages,
Okay.
published, snapshotted, ready to go, right?
Got it.
Because one thing we haven't, oh, sorry,
So
you go.
this is a question, and again, this is my naivete,
Naivete.
because I'm not a hardcore Git user like you. You've bled through your eyes with Git. Um, I do a whole bunch of work on reasoning. I commit that. You look
Yep.
at it. Um, you merge. What if half the stuff you say, yeah, okay, I'm not necessarily content with it, but I'm going to consider it by putting it onto next.
Yeah.
The other half is like, I think you just pasted your recipe for lamb rogan Josh, dude. What's that doing in there?
Yeah, so
It's
when there's errors like that, I'll generally try and correct them on your branch because I feel like if I spot it that it's been deleted, um, that's a temporary problem because first of all you'll just naturally get better at spotting those things, and second of all, very soon, I would hope. I mean, it's probably worthy of a stuck in itself. Is that we'll be able to have some automation that can sit there and when you do a commit, the nap kicks off, takes the diff, pushes it to O1 and says, "Here's a list of business rules for things that we want. Was information destroyed? Yes. Was it? Does it look like it was
bunch of
intentional?
bunch of
No."
bunch of yeah, okay, good,
Yeah,
yeah, all
right.
right, fine. So
Because I
by the
actually
time
think that that's a very valid thing that we could sell is being able to hook up naps into the PR cycle of Git. So you do something, and then naturally these advanced AIs kick off and do whatever you want, pulling in from our app store. Um,
probably,
it makes it
I'd
easy for
also
people to config things like that.
it's a good chance somewhere there's a couple guys inside of GitHub doing exactly that right now, and they'll just launch it at some point.
No, but
But they
I think what I'm proposing is better because it's a way all we're doing, just like I'm saying that we can make a NAP CLI, we can
yeah
also make just like a NAP CLI a NAP GitHub action, and that means that because the NAP CLI can run any NAP, then the GitHub action NAP runner can run any NAP or combination of NAPs that you like, and that's
yeah,
what
and
makes it useful because
it would because the utility of GitHub is unquestionable.
yeah,
Right now,
yeah,
it's fantastic. However, yesterday morning, still managed to
n-
delete the branch that I was working on.
and to
And
nearly
then, so
PR
when I went to
against
commit
dinner.
it, it was like,
Yeah,
ah,
yeah, and it's sort of like yes, you could make a point solution that has these tools for AI processing, but we're saying that naps give us this generalized thing that
well, yes,
you
but
right.
the thing is that nap. We're getting a little bit off piste here, but I think it's worth it because we're getting towards the end of the call.
Mm,
Um, the GitHub is well expressed and well documented, and there's something for O1 to get its teeth into there,
yeah.
and therefore an interface that knew about GitHub.
Mm,
And I was going through in natural language saying, right, what my intention is to commit this uh, as a at the time it was a PR. That's my
Mm.
mistake. That's where I went wrong. Commit this as a PR, and it would also know based on context saying, "Hey, Tom's saying don't do PRs, dude."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah. Because one of the naps could have been to talk to the commander, and it's like,
right,
is this
right,
PR in the list? And then, yeah,
yeah.
so yeah,
And I also can see into the files, but that is, that is ponies for
that's
Christmas.
gonna. Well, it's not that far off. I mean, it's like you do a commit, and then the commander kicks in, and it acts like a QA, and it's like, oh, we ticked off a range of things here, more than what was stated, and so these stucks are now resolved. Off you go. Good work.
Yeah, it would be awesome
So like
actually.
you commit, and then the Gantt chart updates and
Right,
republishes on the website. That's basically how it goes.
but also if I'm committing into reasoning, um, what I'd like to do, or like that hypothetical nap to do, is to say, right, okay, so let's check that number one, your comments. Let's refer those back to Stux, because why are you doing it?
Mm,
Um, uh, Number two, if you're doing something that's not stuck, explain yourself.
mm-hmm,
Number three, is this likely to be rejected because you're breaking something else in another branch?
mm,
And it's like, oh, sorry, I just accidentally shot over one of your files. Sorry about
mm.
that. That was a complete mistake. Instead of what you're doing at the moment, well, basically everything when you're looking at diffs, your thought processes, I think, are does that diff make sense? And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay. Does
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
match anything?
Yeah.
No.
There was a couple of points there that you didn't use git move as well. I saw that you had in some cases, but you had not in others. So just another friendly poke to.
Yeah, uh, I've not looked into the. I was using git move, but I didn't use it for deleting files because I created a couple of
No,
files and I
yeah.
thought
If you
this would be
delete them,
handy.
that's fine. But if you move them around or you rename them, then
Yeah.
git move is your friend. But
Oh,
it's more
minor,
cosmetic.
the other minor point from actually yesterday, I didn't ask you about this one. One of your text was this is a brilliant thing, and then I clicked on it and it said 404. You'll see it in your text stream from yesterday, and it was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember that. Let me pull it up. Just before we finish, the GitHub Action Runner, I just realized that if we set up the commander, and I'm not sure if it's in drop 1, 2, or 3 or whatever, but if we can set
Yeah.
up the commander so that it reruns each time there's a commit, which could include a commit of transcripts, a commit of some reasoning work or whatever,
Mhm.
that's when it would rerun the report for the trucking guys and be like, has anything significant changed? Yes or no? Okay, I need to email them.
Oh, actually, that's
Right?
interesting
So it's
because
like autopilot.
um do we does Stux cover drops?
Yeah, because yeah,
So they're the right level of stuck. If we're talking
yeah.
about high level stuck, we're saying right, we're going to be doing that, and then we can reason through about what the functionality is, or the AI can saying in this drop you're getting this, this, and this. Okay, right. Yeah. Yeah, so just follow that link, and it's like, oh, oh, because it sounded like you're going, hey, this is really good. And it's like, okay, well, I want to double down on whatever behavior it was. And then I clicked on that and I went,
Oh yeah, I know what that was. It's because I migrated the thing.
if it's gone, it's gone. That's
It's
fine.
not gone. It's not gone. Nothing. That's why you should never really worry too much because nothing's really gone in Git here. This bit. This was
So,
gold.
so we've got 8 minutes left. Is there? I would love to know why this is gold, but this is not necessarily on our core stream for today. But if there's nothing else from your side, there's nothing else from my side at the moment. So I'd love to know why this is gold. Because this was just generated from the summary nap.
Yeah. Well, because it's like, all the key meaty bits of the whole conversation, all in one shot, and I was just like, I've never had, you get someone taking notes in a meeting, or someone is like, I'll do a meeting summary, and it never comes out as clean as this. Like,
Yeah. You should see that in all the summaries. I think it was only 3 days ago that I realized putting those timestamps in is really useful to be able to drill down human brain. Because what I've been using it is like, okay, command a platform with hierarchical graph-based structures.
yeah, you could probably actually make a live YouTube link that linked to that time now, because all it
Probably.
is like a format of a link, and then you add the
I mean,
timestamp
I'm
in.
just
Yeah,
going back to the video and then just fast forwarding it to
yeah,
that time,
yeah,
and then it's exactly what we've been talking about. So
yeah,
we can jump around in our conversation,
yeah,
but it's pulling out a succinct thing. But also notice in that 4 down on the key insights in the Commander platform, there are 4 timestamps there. Now,
right, right, because it was referred to across the. Yeah,
exactly, and there is something there that not for now, in terms of the transcript, taking those 4 timestamps, saying you're talking about the Commander platform, let's squish that. And then generate something richer. And I know it's possible because I've done that just as a zero prompt.
yeah, because it's like quite insightful. The team must deliver fast while staying true to their principles. Like we don't really use those words, right? But it's like, here, this is sort of what you mean. Okay, so there was a
Nice.
couple more points. 01 full is now available in Cursor.
I'm still looking at O1 preview.
Yeah,
Do I need to
yeah.
do anything?
No, in
It's
Cursor,
an update.
well, if you they have released an update, but even so, I think the models that are available are separate somehow. Yeah, look, I think that comes
Ah,
down.
okay. So maybe it's just defaulting. Oh, okay. I'll have a look for that.
Yeah, have a look
Okay,
at
good,
that. So
good. Yeah,
that'll be fun. 01 is
yep.
such a more pleasant beast to deal with. Um,
And can I just check? Because we've got the $200 a month thing.
mm,
O1 is not like generating the costs once we get the tool upgrade to it, which
sorry,
is
what?
the one you're. So you were talking the other day, and I went when I was going over the transcript. I was like, actually, I didn't ask, and I don't understand. I went back to the pricing, and it was a bit opaque. So at the moment, I'm hammering O1 for $200 a month.
Well, you're hammering
Um,
01 Pro. Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
That's
and
not generating us any additional costs
that's not
other than that.
costing us anything other than a 200 US a month
Correct. Brilliant.
subscription
Okay.
fee,
So
which is actually a
yeah,
bloody great deal. But
yeah,
once you start hitting O1 as a tool, then it starts being like $60
right.
per million
Okay.
output tokens, which is like, ooh, that's steep.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
have heart, because they slash the prices all the time. The real-time API was 60% cheaper as of 2 days ago, and they released the mini version of the real-time API, which was 10% the cost. So costs come down.
yeah.
I won't worry about it.
No, I'm worried, kind of acutely, not chronically, because market forces.
Mm.
But I just didn't want to end up with running up a $2,000 bill
So I
accidentally.
did the concat tool. Your use of definitions, I did that. We talked about that. Brief the commander is actually the commander nap.
Yeah.
S28 is done. The current stacks formats to remote. Yeah, no, we're done. We're done.
Okay.
Okay,
Grand.
cool.
Well, let's use the last 3 minutes for situation awareness. I'd like to point out, I can send it over if you want, but there was a statement from OpenAI where they would give you an employee for a flat cost of $2,000 a month that you could fire, which is an interesting thing.
What?
So, say if you had a paralegal that cost you $8,000 a month, and it's like, well, we'll give you a paralegal endpoint for $2,000 a month, and your choice. I'll send you over the link. It was a YouTube guy that actually is very sensible and very intelligent. A guy called Wes something. I'll send you over a link. But
All right, cool.
it was an interesting indicator. It's not there yet, but it's an interesting indicator of where they're going. Wes Roth is his name. Wes Roth. But I'll send you over a link. Okay, all right, man. We got 2 minutes to
All right, I'll stop the recording.
upload. Yeah.